Here's why Otto Hightower betrayed King Viserys by secretly plotting Aegon's claim. Imagine a kingdom on the brink of civil war, where loyalty is bought and sold, and the fate of the Iron Throne hinges not only on birthright but on the secret ambitions of those closest to the king. This is the story of Otto Hightower, the Hand of the King, a man entrusted with the most sacred responsibilities in Westeros, yet whose ambitions and scheming would ultimately betray the very monarch he swore to serve. Otto Hightower, a man celebrated for his cunning, intellect, and influence, played a pivotal role in the Targaryen succession crisis. He secretly plotted to place Aegon II on the Iron Throne, undermining King Viserys I and setting the stage for one of the bloodiest conflicts in Westerosi history. But why did Otto Hightower betray the king who had placed his trust in him? To answer that, we must dive deep into the politics, fears, and ambitions that defined the man behind the plot. Otto Hightower was no ordinary Hand of the King. He was a master of courtly intrigue, a man who understood the subtle mechanisms of power, influence, and persuasion. His rise to prominence was not accidental, it was the result of careful cultivation of allies, deep understanding of Westerosi politics, and a relentless ambition to shape the destiny of the realm. As Hand of the King, Otto had access to the inner workings of the monarchy, a position that granted him unparalleled insight into both the strengths and vulnerabilities of King Viserys I. But with great power comes temptation, and Otto's ambitions extended far beyond the ceremonial duties of his office. The Targaryen succession crisis was the perfect opportunity for Otto to exert his influence. King Viserys I had named his daughter, Rhaenyra, as his heir, a bold and unprecedented move that challenged centuries of male primogeniture in Westeros. While some saw this as a progressive step, others viewed it as a dangerous disruption of tradition. Otto Hightower, ever mindful of political realities, perceived this decision as a threat, not just to the stability of the realm, but to the Hightower family's influence and legacy. In Otto's mind, the succession of a female monarch was a gamble too dangerous to be allowed to succeed. Otto's loyalty to King Viserys was complicated. On the surface, he fulfilled his duties dutifully, managing the affairs of the realm with precision and skill. He advised, protected, and guided the king, maintaining the appearance of a steadfast servant. But beneath this veneer of loyalty lay a calculating mind, one that constantly weighed the costs and benefits of every action. Otto was acutely aware that power in Westeros was ephemeral, that influence could shift with a single death or a single decision. He recognized that his own fortunes, and those of his family, were tied to the outcome of the succession, and he was determined to ensure that he remained on the winning side. One of the driving forces behind Otto's betrayal was his ambition for his family, particularly his daughter, Alicent Hightower. Alicent's marriage to King Viserys was a cornerstone of Otto's strategy, a way to cement the Hightower legacy within the royal lineage. By positioning his grandson, Aegon, as a contender for the Iron Throne, Otto could guarantee that his bloodline would hold immense power and influence, regardless of the broader dynamics of Targaryen succession. In this sense, Otto's plotting was both personal and political, a blend of familial ambition and strategic foresight that reflected his understanding of the stakes involved. Jealousy and distrust also played crucial roles in Otto's scheming. He viewed Rhaenyra not only as a threat to male succession but as a rival whose rise would diminish. The influence of the Hightowers. Rhaenyra, appointed heir by King Viserys, commanded loyalty, respect, and the legitimacy that comes with royal decree. For Otto, this represented a direct challenge to his authority and his vision of the future. His decision to secretly plot in favor of Aegon was fueled by a desire to shape the succession in a way that preserved his family's prominence while undermining what he saw as an impractical and potentially destabilizing choice by the king. The political climate of King's Landing further exacerbated Otto's actions. The court was a hotbed of intrigue, alliances, and shifting loyalties. Every decision made by the king could be interpreted as a threat or an opportunity, and every whisper carried weight. Otto, with his keen understanding of human nature and court politics, recognized that securing Aegon's claim would require careful manipulation of perception, influence over key allies, and the strategic timing of actions. He moved deftly, cultivating support among lords, knights, and courtiers who shared his skepticism of Rhaenyra's rule. His plotting was not reckless, it was methodical, deliberate, and executed with the precision of a master strategist. Otto's betrayal was also informed by his perception of King Viserys' weaknesses. While Viserys was a capable and well-meaning ruler, he could be indecisive, overly trusting, and sometimes naive in his assessment of the court. Otto exploited these traits, recognizing that a king who relied on goodwill and loyalty might not anticipate duplicity from his most trusted advisors. By concealing his machinations and presenting an image of unwavering service, Otto created the perfect cover for his plotting. The king, unaware of the true depth of Otto's ambitions, trusted him implicitly, a trust that would ultimately be betrayed in the most consequential way. The strategic importance of timing cannot be overstated in Otto's actions. He waited for the opportune moment to advance Aegon's claim, carefully observing the dynamics between Rhaenyra, her supporters, and the broader political landscape. Otto understood that premature action could backfire, undermining both his influence and the prospects of Aegon. By acting with patience, he ensured that his schemes would have maximum impact, allowing him to manipulate events behind the scenes while maintaining plausible deniability. In this way, Otto's betrayal was not impulsive, it was the result of calculated, long-term planning. Fear was another motivator in Otto's decision to plot against King Viserys. He feared the instability that might accompany Rhaenyra's rule, the potential for rebellion, and the erosion of Hightower influence. In a kingdom where succession was everything and legitimacy was constantly contested, Otto perceived risk in allowing a female monarch to ascend unchallenged. By advancing Aegon's claim, he sought to preempt what he saw as inevitable conflict, positioning his family and allies on the side he believed would ultimately prevail. In his mind, the betrayal was a defensive act, a way to protect the realm and secure his own legacy simultaneously. Yet Otto's plotting was not without moral ambiguity. From one perspective, he violated the sacred bonds of loyalty between Hand and King, betraying the trust that Viserys had placed in him. From another perspective, he acted in accordance with his understanding of the realm's needs, anticipating dangers that others overlooked. Otto's actions highlight the tension between personal ambition, duty, and the perceived greater good. In a world governed by power, influence, and survival, the lines between loyalty and betrayal are often blurred, and Otto's choices exemplify this complexity. The consequences of Otto's plotting were monumental. By secretly promoting Aegon's claim, he set in motion a chain of events that would ultimately lead to the Dance of the Dragons, a brutal civil war that devastated Westeros. Families were torn apart, dragons clashed in the skies, and countless lives were lost. Otto's ambitions, while personally advantageous, contributed to a conflict that would shape the Targaryen dynasty for generations. His betrayal serves as a reminder that the pursuit of power, even when executed with skill and foresight, carries risks that can reverberate far beyond the immediate moment. Otto's intelligence and political acumen cannot be understated. He understood not only the mechanics of succession but also the psychology of the key players involved. He anticipated reactions, manipulated allegiances, and leveraged fear and ambition to advance his goals. His plotting was sophisticated, combining diplomacy, coercion, and subtle threats to ensure that Aegon's claim gained traction while minimizing immediate backlash. In many ways, Otto exemplifies the archetype of a master strategist, a man whose intellect and foresight allowed him to operate effectively in an environment where miscalculation could be fatal. At the same time, Otto's actions were deeply personal. His loyalty to his daughter and her children motivated much of his strategy. He sought to secure their future, influence the course of the monarchy,